Hello, I am Chris, the SAT expert at Magoosh, and today we have SAT scores explained. So basically, a lot of people have been asking us questions about SAT scores, so we figured we'd answer some of them today. So let's start. What is a good SAT score? You know what? That is a super hard question to answer because I really don't know. I could say a perfect score is a good score and everyone would clap because I'm right, but not really helpful, right? So what you're probably asking is, what's a good score for me? To answer that, you have to ask yourself. You have to ask yourself a few things, such as, what schools am I looking to get into? If they're super competitive, then you want to make sure that you're getting scores that are at least at the 50 percentile of the people who are going to that school, so somewhere on the higher end. But if you're going to schools that aren't as competitive, then the SAT score, what is good for, might not be as important. Of course, if your transcript and other stuff is lacking or not as strong at least, and you want to go to a somewhat competitive school, all of a sudden your SAT score has to be higher. And so you want to be able to know all of these things, and then you'll be able to answer what is a good SAT score, because ultimately it should be, what is a good SAT score for you? Next question. How many can I miss? Now, people ask this because people want to get a perfect score. So how many can I miss? Or what if I miss 2? Do I still get a perfect score? So basically, for the most part, you can only miss 1, and it depends the test and which section that one is on for you to still get a perfect score. Otherwise, for every one you miss, you drop down 10, 20 points down this little scale from 1600 all the way down to 400. And so if that's what usually people mean, how many can I miss? So if you want to get 1400 and last time you got 1350, how many more do you have to get right? A few questions. So that's a good way of thinking about it. But again, perfect score, you need to get almost every single thing right. Not easy to do. Next, this is an interesting one. Is score the most important thing on the SAT? Of course it is. What do you mean? I could take a test and have a great experience and get a terrible score. Who cares? It's all about the score, right? Well, yes and no. It's also about the percentile. Percentiles are super important. So for instance, if someone gets 1400 and friend gets 1300, they say, well, I did 100 points better than you. That's great. And then another friend got 1200. And that 1300 person said, well, I did 100 points better than you. In terms of percentile, that's almost a 20 percentile difference between the 1200 and the 1300. But between the 1300 and the 1400, it's only about 10 percentile difference. And so as you get higher up on the point scale, the percentiles become far less. And so if you're around 1100 and you can bump your score up to about 1200, you're going from about the 60 to almost the 80% range. That's a huge difference, just jumping up those 100, 150 points. And so that's what you really want to be keeping in mind, is where are you on the scale and what is your percentage? Because oftentimes these colleges don't just look at your score, they look at what is your percent. So a 100-point increase, well, that can be great, but depending on where you are on the scale again, it can really affect your percentiles differently. Next, we have, do I have to submit all of my SAT scores? What this means is, in some cases, you don't have to submit all of them. You could just submit the ones that are best. But it really depends on the school. Each college has its own policy. So check with the college first before you decide whether to take the SAT again. Because if you've taken it twice and you haven't done well, and you're going to take it a third time and the school only wants your best SAT score, then hey, that's great. On the other hand, if the school looks at all your SAT scores and you're going to take it a third time, you really have to make sure that you're ready and that you're prepped. Not that you take it a third time and get the same scores before, because then that looks like you haven't improved even though you've taken it 3 times, and that can send a very bad message to the school. Finally, we have a question for you. What is your question about SAT scores? Let us know in the comments section below, and we'll answer your question as soon as we can. Have a great test day.